Welcome in, guys, and I'm back to do another scout report. We're still on the defensive side of the ball. Well, we're still covering that. We're still covering the defensive side of the ball. So I am gonna get on after I've done this scout report with Nick Scourton. When I've done this scout report on Nick Scourton, I am going to focus on the tight ends and the wide receivers, and then we'll go from there. What I'm gonna do after that, but. Yeah, let's talk about Nick Scourton. He's kind of one of these guys that you look at the edge rusher, defensive line, whatever. He's kind of been tips heavy. I've seen other mock drafts on YouTube of like, oh, he's top 10, he's whatever, and people have on the mock draft boards different. And as I've showed you guys on the channel, I've had him a couple places down, and I've had him up a couple places on my draft board and stuff. But I'm gonna give you my thoughts on like watching him again. I watched him his games at Texas A&M from this season and his 2 seasons from Purdue. So he had his 2 seasons in Purdue, then he transferred at the end of 2023. He transferred to Texas A&M before the 2024 season. So going off, so the games that I watched him on, so these are, like I said, some from Texas A&M, some from Purdue. The 2 seasons he spent at Purdue. So at Notre Dame, LSU, Missouri, New Mexico State, South Carolina, Florida, and then Ohio State from his time at Purdue. And he did face Ohio State, Purdue, and then he faced Minnesota, and those are kind of the teams he faced. Oh yeah, Virginia Tech as well. So I'll have, like I said, I'll have that down in the description box below. All the games I watched, all the games I saw of him, and let's get into it. So he's 6'4", 6'3", 6'3", 237 pounds. So let's talk about his strength. So he has never stopped running attitude, and consistently changes plays from behind and fighting through multiple breaks to intimidate to set up the break. So that's one good thing. Like, he has some great energy on the field. What I saw, and then the other one I want to think he's got a thunderbolt. He's a thunderbolt of a power rusher, which is fantastic. Part of his game. When he's covering the speed, and he covers speed, and then that goes he's showing his force and his speed and his ability to take on tackles, and then he's got great timing of when he can strike and take down the quarterback, and good stuff like that. And he's an advanced pass. He has an advanced pass rushing arsenal about him, featuring like he has effective cross chop movement about him. He has a good arm swipe, which again, he's good at blocking himself with a good chop hand and good swim movements and stuff like that. So he's got some good offensive moves about him. And ultimately that would confuse the offensive line. Like, where the fuck? Like, we're trying to protect this quarterback, like he's doing all this fucking like fucking the bushwhackers. If you're wrestling, you will understand that. But yeah, bushwhackers. Then the other thing that I saw, that he has a devastating spin move that combines an exceptional quickness and preciseness about him, and he has a great placement to beat the tackle clean. Especially if you look, there's a game when I saw on tape against South Carolina. He does that. If you go back to that game, like South Carolina versus Texas A&M, you will see it. He does some great combination moves. Some great spin combination moves to prevent the offensive line from trying to really try to get it at the offensive line. And especially in that game against South Carolina, he was doing some great things there with his arm movement and his hands. So if you want to go back to watching that game, that was kind of one that I seen on one that I really liked on tape. And then he has a natural play strength that, and which again leads to the hand him attacking with his hands, and then for basically to kind of steer the tight end from the edge, and then runs and then stops him in the running game. Then the last couple here that I saw really of the strengths kind of part. He has an exceptional first step of quickness, allowing him to shoot a B suspect and punish oversetting. And then he has a great he's a great progression scheme. He's great at exploiting the tackles progression, the protection scheme. When he was against, again, another game against Missouri, when they was running the protection scheme, and he was exploiting that fantastically well on his tape. So again, if you want to go back and watch that, that's another one as well. And now let's go to the weaknesses here. So weaknesses, his pad level, again, you look, one weakness that I saw on his tape, his pad level rises as when he gets fatigued, his pad level would rise, which ultimately, when he plays from a 2-point stance, that causes him to lose battles he should be really winning. Like, again, if you're winning for these plays when you're fatigued and your pad levels are going up, and you're on that 2-point stand, which causes him to lose battles, run out of play, and it doesn't look good. His tackle improvement kind of needs some improvement. Sometimes he would kind of die. That's one thing I saw on his tape. Sometimes when he would, with his technique movement, sometimes, yeah, he needs a bit of a refinement about him. He needs to, because he would tend to dive and miss in spaces rather than, he would just miss them rather go down and stop the play. Like, he would just look kind of sloppy and it wouldn't look so good. So his tackling technique has to be improved, and you can coach that if he has a good defensive coordinator around him. So that's something. It's not something like, oh, maybe. Again, it's something that is a bit of a red flag, but you could coach it, and it's going to be something like it's growing pains with that. But if he's under the right defensive coordinator, it would work. So, and then the last kind of couple of minutes to talk about here. He kind of struggles to maintain leverage against a double. So when a offensive line are double teaming the defensive line, and the double team, especially Nick Scourton, he struggles with that, and he can get washed out by the double team of the offensive line, which ultimately he gets directed with multiple blocks from the offensive line. So yeah, he's not really good on the whole double team thing. So one thing you would have to look at is his technique work, his double team. And then two more that I had on pass rushing plans. His pass rusher he stalls when he's out when he's on the intel and moves and starts. He needs to work on it better on the counter movement and learn to chain rush on some of the setups. And then the hip tightness is limited. Like, his hip ability needs a bit of work with. He has kind of a flatness around the corners, and then ultimately gets pushed up the field too much, and especially against the technical sounded tackles. Like, again, if they're technically sounded and his hip movement isn't the best, and especially he's up against two great technical tackles on the offensive line, then he's struggling on that. But the summary of what I gathered, like, he's best in a 4-3 defensive system. That's his best for right now. I think put him in a 4-3 with somebody, and then you can build him up and have him work on a couple of things. But and then when he's working in a 4-3, advance that would work that would work in a 4-3 system. He can be improve on becoming on it. He can improve on being an advanced pass rusher, and can be maintained from like being a 3-point stance, and then he can work on the counter movement and his stamina, and he can press on the quarter, and then that would help him to press the quarterback more and hold on against the points against the rush. So yeah, that's my scout report on Nick Scourton from Texas A&M. I will leave the games that I scouted and watch down in the comments. And again, if you want to scout people, other people, I have some. I am like I said, I'm gonna look at some more quarterbacks in the class of this draft class, but I'm gonna focus on next couple of days. Next couple of days, you'll probably see some videos of me scouting the tight ends and the wide receivers of this class. I've already started with a couple, at least they're budging a couple of weeks ago, so I'm going to continue on looking at the tight end wide receiver class of this draft class, and then some more quarterbacks.